On March 29, 1988, a 20-year-old man was running naked down a street in Kansas City. He was wearing a dog collar on his neck. He didn't put it on himself, someone else did. This is the story of Robert Berdella, the Kansas City butcher, and this is the brick observer behind the bricks. Robert Berdella Jr. was born in 1949 in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, which, fun fact, is basically the most Ohio-sounding place ever. His dad worked at Ford. Italian Catholic family, very strict, very spared the rods, spoiled the child energy, except there was no sparing of any rods in this house. His dad had a leather strap, and Robert, he was not the favorite son. He had these thick glasses since he was 5, zero interest in sports, and basically he was the kid who got picked last in gym class and then got the belt at home because he got picked last. Very rough childhood. And then, plot twist, he realized that he was gay in a devout Catholic household in the 1960s Ohio. So he did the only thing he thought it was the best thing to do, like he buried it very deep, along with apparently every healthy emotion he ever had. On Christmas Day, 1965, his dad drops dead from a heart attack, and Robert is 16. And look, I know this sounds dark, but some people will actually be like, oh, finally, I'm free. Like, the belt is gone, the abuse is gone. But for Robert, he was actually devastated, and he went to the church for comfort. And unfortunately, unfortunately for him, his mother actually remarried again months later. Months didn't even wait for the Christmas decoration to come down. And Robert saw this as the ultimate betrayal. He stopped going to the church, started hating his stepdad. It was actually the classic teenage rebellion, except this teenage rebellion came with animal torture, and was quite psychopathic. He started with this then when you see all these cases of serial killers, they start all the time with animals. This is the beginning of what they will become, and this is the first sign, and you can actually check then they will become a psychopath or a serial killer. And it went unseen apparently by his mom. He went to the Kansas City Art Institute and wanted to be a professor, and then he wanted to be a chef. And then he got kicked out for, quote, murdering a dog for the sake of art, which is not something you put on a resume. Then he got arrested for selling LSD, and the charges didn't stick, but the vibe stuck. He started hanging out with male prostitutes, runaways, addicts, people who wouldn't be missed. And you understand where is this going now? He was hanging out with people who actually will not be missed, or what his mind thought will actually be a match for him, by actually completing his plan in the end. Fast forward to 1982, Robert opens Bob's Bazaar Bazaar. Yes, that's the name. Bob's Bazaar Bazaar. He sold African masks, schools, and tribal art. To the neighbors, he was actually this quirky guy who was surprisingly civic-minded, neighborhood watch president, a fundraiser organizer, the guy who will actually help you find your lost cat while, having a human skull in his window basement. But the shop was a front, a way to meet vulnerable young men, and the income was never enough. He had to take lodgers at his house on Charlotte Street. If someone offered you a room at this guy's house who sells skulls for a living, would you say yes? And apparently 6 young men did. Between 1984 and 1987, at least 6 young men entered that house and never came out. Jerry Howell, Robert Sheldon, Mark Wallace, Walter Ferris, Todd Stops, and Larry Pearson. And here is where it gets dark. I don't even have a word for it. He had a basement, he had a metal bed, he had leather straps, syringes, and he had a Polaroid camera and a diary. A 300-page diary where he actually documented everything he was doing since like a science homework. Subject number 5, show signs of dehydration, severe, administer electrodes to the genitals to keep him conscious. He was writing this in his diary. You can actually Google it and see for yourself. He was writing this he was a scientist, not he was torturing these people. And that's not a killer writing. That's a guy who thinks he's actually running a lab. That's somehow, for me at least, worse. At least a crime of passion has passion. This was just cold. He wanted just to treat these people like they were guinea pigs. March 29, 1988, Christopher Bryson, 22 years old. he actually landed in Berdella's basement, and Berdella is telling him, "You didn't choose to be here, but you are. So for you to survive, it could either be rough or easy. Yeah? Don't try to fight me." And Christopher plays along. He befriends him, he waits, and then while Berdella is going to work, like he's working, Christopher finds a key, and he breaks free, jumps from a second floor window, and he runs naked down Charlotte Street, wearing the dog collar I told you in the beginning. A neighbor sees him, thinks it's actually a prank, then sees the bruises, and he calls the police, and that's how the House of Horrors actually came to an end. Because one guy was actually smart enough to act dumb, you know. Police found Polaroids stacked in boxes, the diary, the human teeth in a jar, a skull on a shelf, a head buried in the backyard, and Berdella tried to bribe the officers. And when that didn't work, he just waited. He waited and confessed to avoid the death penalty. And instead of getting the death penalty, he got life without parole. In 1989, he gave a TV interview complaining that the media treated him unfairly, and actually no one cared. And in 1992, he died of a heart attack in prison. He was saying before he died that the prison guards were hiding his medication for the heart. We will never know if this is true or actually not, but that's what he was saying. He was saying that they were not giving him his heart medication. And when he was 43, the man who controlled everything actually lost control of his own body. It's actually kind of poetic, if you believe in that kind of things. Robert Berdella was not born a monster. He was a cause and effect of bullying, of an abusive father, of a mother that moved too fast. In the end of the day, he of course is a serial killer and a murderer, but it's important to actually acknowledge what's happened to him in his childhood and how he actually was raised. And it's important also to point how society looked at him when he was actually doing this, how he was seen as a good neighbor, how he was actually very into the night watch of his neighborhood, how he was helping other neighbors. It's important to know this because actually we don't know who we are living next to. So, we see us next time in another episode of The Brick Observer True Crime. I hope you like this episode. I will start doing these true crime videos more often, probably once or twice a week, because I actually enjoy true crime also a lot. And I watch and consume also true crime. Maybe if you like it, let me know here with the word brick, and I will see you next time in another episode. Have a good day.